Hello and welcome back to another stream. We're doing streams now, everyone. Streams. She-Hulk episode 2.
Stream yesterday, stream today.
Yesterday's stream, today's stream. We're streaming. Quick streams. She-Hulk came out today. And, so it goes. It happens to be Ben and I, again, who have been able to watch the episode to talk about it. So here we are going to talk about She-Hulk episode 2. Super Lawyers, man. I like this episode. Just to get right into it, I like this episode more than the first one. I see why they would have started here, because this is like literally what the show is going to be about, and I can see where they inserted that backstory into the last one. That's my quick reaction. I don't know if you like. I could totally see like how they had an intro to the show where she was in court and she hulked out, and then did this, but then they shoved.
I'm right
this.
there with you. I actually quite enjoyed this episode. Pleasantly surprised. I think it was very true to what they've been saying the show is going to be, which I didn't really feel that like last episode. And just, I think just the poor like editing choices of last episode really sort of sunk the show for me. So I thought this was a good episode. Like I quite enjoyed it.
Well, like I said, yeah, this was clearly they were going to take the courtroom scene from the last one, and that was going to be the start of the show. Like that was probably how her revealing to the world that she was She-Hulk. That's how these She-Hulk stories usually start. But yeah, to talk about the episode itself, I loved Emil Blonsky Abomination. Like I understand. It's like a very different version of the character, but I'm okay with it. Like the Incredible Hulk came out 14 years ago. Yeah. Like
no one can be upset about this. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I don't really care.
I sort of barely even consider it MCU just because it's not. Mark
and the line how he's like, I'm Russian born, British raised, special forces, loaned out to the U.S. government. I was like, yeah, what's weird, man? Like, I guess that was the plot, huh? That was the plot of the Hulk. Like, what's up with that? And it's funny how they're able to poke fun at it. It's got white Crocs on. I just love the premise too of like she has to represent this guy who tried to kill her brother. I think it's funny. I just think it's fun. Cousin. Yeah, sorry, cousin. I'm tired. For me, it is 9 a.m. everybody, and I went to sleep at 3. So I'm bright and early for you to do this stream. Your cousin, excuse me. Speaking of which, Bruce looks like heading out of the show off to Sakaar.
Yep, that was the classic. Just like, all right, goodbye. I'm not going to be in this show anymore. We just jet off into hyperspace.
I mean, you think he'll come back in the
maybe towards the end, but that was a pretty convenient. I'm not going to be in the show for a while, which is fine
because
it needs him.
We have 9 episodes, so I could see him coming back in the last 2.
Yes, but for the time being, he's.
Do we think it's to find his son? I think Sakaar's like, hey, you got a kid.
Who knows?
Maybe. That's the rumor on the street. And speaking of rumors, while this is not technically She-Hulk related, it was in She-Hulk. So when she has her laptop up, I don't know if you've seen this. When she has her laptop and she's looking for jobs, there are a myriad of Easter eggs, including Man with Claws gets in fight at bar, seemingly confirming Wolverine is already in the MCU. Like Man with Metal Claws at bar,
okay.
Like that. That's like one
What's
of the.
What's he doing getting into bar fights?
I don't know, but that's one of the stories, like the news stories on her screen.
That's
and
cool. I didn't see that.
And there's also one about. There's like some jokey ones, like it's like why the title is like why is there a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean? Like it's to try to explain Eternals. Because like that happened in Eternals and no one's addressed it yet. Like this guy sticking out of Earth.
Huge MCU repercussions.
But yeah, the fact that Wolverine seemingly confirmed and will eventually be in the MCU. That's something to look forward to. Hi Lisa, how did you like the episode? Wolfie? Let's see, first live. Not watched the unfortunate Wolfie. Good to see you here.
Not too many spoilers to discuss, but
not too many. Well, because it's a light and fun show. Like I love the fact that she's working for the law firm she was just trying to take down. That it's like the superhero, the whole premise. Like this is what I want from the show.
Yeah, and it's what they've been talking about, and it's not what we got in the first episode. We got like a very generic like superhero origin story in the first episode. Not much like in the one courtroom scene is like super weird. Yeah, where Titania sort of busts in.
And you reference like the agnostic thing. The humor also works.
I like that joke.
Yeah, I'm agnostic. Fascinating. What an interesting take.
It's like unprecedented.
Unprecedented. That's funny.
I thought this episode, landed a few jokes with me. I'd say I was chuckling.
It's chuckling. We got Gibbs chuckling, everyone. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign, always.
Not really any action, right?
No, not at all. No.
Okay, to head back to the premise, you're very clearly able to see now how Matt Murdock is going to enter into this, how some of these other MCU characters are able to enter into the story pretty organically. And now that in universe, there's going to be this superhero crime division.
Sure.
And I'm just excited.
I'm surprised they didn't call him first.
Right?
I guess.
Well, he's not.
Know.
They don't know. Yeah, it's not. It's not publicly out there.
Yeah.
He's too busy hanging out on Spider-Man No Way Home posters.
But who knows though? Who knows in the MCU at this point, like what Daredevil's been up to?
Well, I think that'd be a great reveal if because we've heard that he's not in it until later in the back half of the show. If we don't get Abomination to court until, let's say, episode 5, halfway through, and they're in the courtroom, and then the person prosecuting the case is Matt Murdock, like that as that.
No, she's a prosecutor. He's a defendant.
No. I know, no, but she's defending.
Oh yeah, she is defending.
I mean, yeah,
it's interesting because that is a pretty big difference between the characters.
Well, I mean, I guess technically the legality of the case is he wants parole.
It's like parole, so it's a little different, I guess, overall.
Either way, Matt Murdock would be on the side of keep this guy in jail. Please do not let him out.
But that doesn't really seem like his MO though. Like,
I know
throughout Daredevil, he's sort of fighting for the little guy.
Yeah, he's
sort of his Abomination's argument would seem like it would appeal to Daredevil too. So
maybe
I see what you're saying, but I can't really see him showing up being
True.
anti-Abomination.
It'd be cool though. Just saying,
it would be cool. I think it explain it well.
And I loved the little sting at the end of that little bit in Shang-Chi. Like Wong is totally just ringing in there and busting him out and then sending him back to jail. And I think that's so funny.
That's hilarious. That is why is Wong doing this? No regard for federal penitentiary.
I totally sort of forgot that he was in the trailer, and that she's gonna show up because there's that scene in the trailer where she's talking about the American Book of Laws. He's like the Book of Ashanti. There's gonna be so much good humor from the fact that he was just breaking out this criminal to go fight.
Yeah, you mean the Book of Ashanti? That was a funny joke.
It's gonna be good, and I'm excited for that because when you watch in Shang-Chi, it sort of felt like a throwaway. But now that I'm remembering, I'm pretty sure he sling rings Abomination back, and you can sort of see the cell.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see him going back into a cell, which is funny. And now that it harkens back to, people have been complaining in Phase 4 that things have been sort of sloppier, less connected. But to me, this feels, it's reminiscent of Phase 2 or Phase 3 MCU, where those little throwaway jokes come back to affect other content. And that was a 1-minute scene in Shang-Chi, but now it's a plot point that Jennifer Walters has to defend.
Sure.
What is my client doing?
We saw Bruce Banner in Shang-Chi too. That's sort of
true.
That was more
a
plot hole than a connection, but
well, a plot hole that was filled.
Yes, I love seeing Abomination in Shang-Chi. I thought that was super funny, using the sling ring to get him to knock himself out, because
he was taking dives for money.
And then they were just chumming it up after the fight. I still don't understand why Wong is fighting in an underground fight pit. And
why not?
He's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh, maybe we'll get an explanation. Maybe she'll ask
that
question.
So. It's goofy.
And so he mentions though, Bill Blonsky mentions how he met through the quote unquote prison pen pal system 7 soulmates.
Yeah.
And I'm because he clearly, in my head I'm okay, that's when he's out there in the world and where's the fight pit? Was it in Madripoor? Is that where that was? Where did they go?
I don't recall.
It was in somewhere else. Anyway, but if those 7 friends of his who have this large plot of land are also B tier MCU villains, that'd be fun. That'd be a fun
be fun.
I don't know. You could bring in some fun characters. The Justin Hammers of the world, the extremists.
I mean,
guys,
this show sort of works pretty perfectly for bringing in sort of low level superheroes or or super villains, just like whether they get caught up in like the court system. It's like sort of a funny idea that like they have to like go through like the legal system.
Because you just watched Iron Man 3 and the
yeah, I just watched it like last week.
And the Extremist guys also, they show up briefly in Shang-Chi, and it'd be funny if like a Trevor Slattery type character, like she has to defend him from stuff that he did as the Mandarin. Like that'd be a hilarious case where he's like, I'm just an actor. Like I swear, not real. Like I'd love to see that. But a little more about the show. We have a couple of really good bar scenes at the Legalese is the name of the bar, which I think is funny. Her family. What'd you think about the Banner family?
That was a good scene when they're just like piling on about like everything. I liked when the guy's like, "Oh, I got promoted to like a manager at Best Buy."
Best Buy,
like employed and promoted.
Did you see the post credit scene this time?
Yeah, I did.
He was like, I don't know what 4K is, but you need it.
Yeah,
that's what he was saying.
Her carrying in all the
water jugs,
all the water jugs. Because I remember in the concept art after like the end of the episode, there were like pictures of her like doing like house chores. And I'm like, oh, I didn't remember that scene. But they stuck it in there at the end.
Stuck it in there.
So
yeah, I liked her family too. I thought just even though I feel like they just did a Hawkeye bit very similar with the arrow thing, I thought it was still funny that immediately her dad is like, but so how does he get his arrows? Like I just thought it's still funny, even though it's kind of an old bit. It still makes me laugh when people assume you're like, oh yeah, Hawkeye now because you're a superhero. How does he do this mundane thing? And honestly, this is maybe a broader point about the Marvel shows, because yesterday on stream and afterwards we were talking about Book of Boba Fett, and I obviously a fan of the show, but some of the people on the channel are not. Fine. And this first episode of She-Hulk was so like, the studio made this the one, but maybe this was more to what the creatives wanted to show us. I was like, okay, I like this vision, but going back and reappraising stuff, and it did make me want to be like, should I give? Because you also brought up the Renaissance Fair thing. Like, I feel like I really like those first few episodes of Hawkeye. Like, should I give Hawkeye another chance? I don't know if I'll like the Kingpin thing anymore, but there's stuff in there that maybe I'd appreciate more for the like the ground level universe building. Because I would love to see, those characters interact. Like as soon as they brought up a character like Hawkeye, I was like, I would love to see, a Kate Bishop gets in trouble for like a parking violation or whatever, and has to like appeal the parking ticket.
I hope they take advantage of it.
Yeah, they could totally just small mundane stuff like that does so much for the world building, and is just fun as fans. Yeah. I don't know. It was a very short episode though. It felt like
it was like 21 minutes. It was like very much like TV, like sitcom, like 30-minute time slot. Like it almost like felt like it had like commercial breaks in it at like points. Like I feel like it could have been like on TV, honestly.
Yeah. But I think it felt good though, especially at 9 episodes. I don't mind this pace.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, it seems like a show that like might have been better if it was released all at once. I mean, not they're ever going to do that, but
yeah,
some shows are better that way for me.
So, all right, well, if the first episode for us was like a 6 or 7 out of 10, how are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, it's like 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, this is probably a 7.5 or an 8 for me. I actually was really enjoying myself, and because it's so short, there's not a lot for like the spoil or the pacing to spoil it or anything like that. Like it was a quick pace, and I was enjoying it. It actually, like you said, some of the jokes landed. Wasn't really expecting them to land. And yeah, I started connecting to the character more. Like when she's talking over Bruce on the phone, she's already come to conclusions when she's just at the table and drowning all this noise out. Like she still is this self-absorbed character who now has to deal with everyone wants this other version of herself more. And her like seeing that with Emil Blonsky and be like, oh, he was able to separate himself from the Abomination. But now this twist of like, well, was he really? What's he doing with the fights? Which I love the fact that even it's not like nefarious. He was literally taking a dive for money, like with Wong. Yeah. Like it wasn't like, oh, he was going out and killing people. Like he was like the staged fights.
I'm so interested to see. Like, I guess the next episode probably is gonna have Wong in it. Like, I'm probably gonna get the answer to that.
Yeah,
I thought it's a super funny idea, honestly. That Wong just going in there.
Yeah,
can't get over that.
I just feel a little more connected to the character, and
No, I definitely do as well.
I enjoy that. So yeah, for me, probably I'll be generous right now. I'll land with an 8. I'm feeling pretty positive on it. But yeah, guys, I mean that's our immediate reaction to the second episode of She-Hulk. A very short one, not really much to say, not like lots of spoil.
No.
I enjoyed it, and if you guys did too, leave a comment down below what you would give the episode. What was your favorite part? Maybe your favorite joke. And we're streaming more often now, guys. As I said before, if this is your first stream you're catching, or on the rewind, we're trying to just, because there's so many shows out, we're just trying to cover them as best as we can. So you're gonna get a lot more of these shorter streams. This one's extra short just because She-Hulk was so short and a lot to talk about. But for look forward to Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, and we'll see how Andor goes with this stuff. But yeah, thanks guys. See you on the next one. Bye.